Namaste, everyone, dear friends. Welcome to our weekly interfaith prayer service. Today, our theme is interfaith prayers for people in Afghanistan. 2 weeks back, when I was talking to Dr. T.P. Shashikumar, and we got this plan to have this subject. The reason is I'm not favoring in one country or one group of people. I'm concerning about the humanity and the issue towards women and children. That's a serious issue. And we cannot go there and do anything in Afghanistan, but we can do prayer. We can make a comment to our leaders, any bodies at the UN, or those who can influence in that issue. That also we can do. We can write letters, emails, and definitely prayer we had to do it. That's important. I care about all the religious issues which is against women and children. So I like to invite a female reverend first, because this concern about the females issues. That is Reverend Susanna Malcolm. She is the advisor to the Value community, and Reverend from the All Faith Seminary International, and she is involved with so many organizations. Reverend Susanna, floor is for you. Unmute yourself.
Namaste, and thank you, Guruji. My heartfelt gratitude to you for organizing this desperately needed prayer service for Afghanistan. And thank you for inviting me, and I thank you all from the fullness of my heart for being.
Thank you, Rabbi. You beautifully explained the way religious leaders should stand forward, stand together, and educate people. Whatever we can do, we'll do it. And we know you care about people. I appreciate during this busy time you're joining with us. Thank you, Rabbi. Now I'd like to invite Dr. T.P. Shashikumar from India. He's our advisor and involved with the numerous organizations. Early morning we had a beautiful event, and without sleeping, I'm standing here for another event. We had a long discussion about this event, and I like to bring Dr. T.P. Shashikumar to explain the situation and his concern. Good to hear from a scientist and a community leader and a teacher. He has different feathers on his hat. Dr. T.P. Shashikumar, floor is for you.
Namaskaram to all of you. Thank you, Dilip ji, for organizing this. As Reverend Susanna Ma'am and as Rabbi ji spoke, we are all concerned. Bhagavad Gita, we have got 3 parts. One is action, karma. Second one is devotion, that is dhyana. Dhyana is a yoga which all of us spiritually are getting closer through religious patterns. But then Bhagavad Gita says only dhyanam, bhakti, prayer without action is useless. It doesn't give any result. Because whenever there is an action, it cannot be replaced by any prayer. We are in midst of the great politicians. We don't know whether it is for individually as a person for power, Are they that foolish? Are they that foolish when they wanted to become powerful? Maybe head of a state, head of a country is not good enough. They want to conquer the neighboring world around. Is it politics? Is it business? We are not learned the lessons from World War. We had many such inhuman activities happened different parts of the world. There are a lot of shaking hands we can do between different nations to make all people to live harmoniously, sharing of resources, sharing of business, sharing of different religious thoughts and patterns and concepts, so that people can become together to live. The other day when we had under Dilip ji's chair only, we were hearing the Parliament of World Religious representative was giving a talk. I was telling, when there is a physical wound, we have got Red Cross reaching to those places to give help. But when there is a conflict, when there is a religious conflict, there is a war between not two nations, but in a nation, many other nationals are suffering. That is now today the problem. It is not just one nation, the people in those countries, but when bilateral relationships are good, most of the people from different parts of the world are also there. Now to get out of that country where they were fed by their fellow countrymen, in those countries where they were living, I am sure every Indian or American or Pakistani or everybody who is living in Afghanistan is fed by Afghanistan people only, because they are living in that nation. So there is a concern. You cannot leave that country leaving those people in trouble. Everybody is traveling in the same boat. When it is sinking, it is not good that I get my aircraft and then fly away, leaving others to sink. That is the concern. When our brothers and sisters from each country, maybe when it is reported in India, we say 300 people from India are there now. American press may report there are this many number of people from America, but they are not alone there. They are with their sisters and brothers of that native country. So as religious, now we are gathering here with the interfaith. I was suggesting that time also we need to have a strong white cross, a religious like a Red Cross, volunteers to be sent to such places with the United Nations badge. I think when military people go, I am sure Taliban has a problem with the American fighter aircrafts landing there. But I am sure if you have a white aircraft with all the religious people, volunteers from different religion, and then say that we are all together, it is high time for Parliament of Religion to think about this. It is high time for United Nations to start creating such a peace warriors, where we can talk not with the brain, let us talk with the heart. Let us talk only of love towards humanity. As not with, though it can be a interfaith or maybe Parliament of Religions, the unity should be not talking about your religion and propagating, but true spirituality. If you don't make such people who understand religion for getting into spirituality for enlightenment, for realization, for that peace which all of us can attain at the end of the day. It is shame. It is shame on each one of us to say that we are propagators of religion. We talk religion. We serve God and people, not when prosperity is around. I think the service is very much essential when people are in suffering. And I am sure prayer is one part that if make people to unite, to gather together and then start marching towards actions. That is what we need with a high logical thinking, Sankhya, analysis of the problem, understand the true nature of the problem. Traditionally in Bharatiya Shastra, Indian tradition, every king had a spiritual master around him as advisors. Without their approval, king was never taking any actions. With their blessings only actions were initiated. I am sure this is all happening to humanity because we don't have mentorship for politicians, not religious people, but we need real spiritual people, Atmiya Purusha, that is the word, Atmiya Purusha, who understand not with the buddhi, not with the manas, but the Atma inside, the prana inside, the true nature of human. If that is there, I am sure they can create this white cross, and these white cross can solve problems not only when there is a conflict. When there is no conflict also, people has to work and then get the confidence of people so that people will listen to these peace torchbearers. We need those torchbearers. This is what I want to submit to the interfaith community, to take it close to the Parliament of Religions, where we can have some say to the United Nations, not through political, not through religious, but through the spiritual terms. That is probably what I wanted to submit. Thank you, Dilip ji, for this opportunity, and thank you all for hope you understand the concern and then take message to as many people as you can, so that we become an influential entity for helping humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shashi ji, for bringing good ideas, because I always think about training people to work for the Peace Corps. UN has Peace Corps, but that's totally different. We need NGOs, those who come forward, to unite with the even regular people and artists, musicians, dancers, and religious leaders, non-religious leaders, even politicians come together and have a dialogue and action plans. That will make a big change. And I know when we had the different conflicts in Kerala earlier, we used to have dialogues between religious groups, and all worked well. That I remember those days. And now we don't have any conflict in Kerala. All are work as typical.
Dilip ji, we can look at the God's creation at a physical level. Every animal hunt for food. They are also the hunting animal and the hunted animal, both are creations. We had 4 Vedas, in which Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda is Sattvic Vedas, which talks about the high level thoughts. But the Atharva Veda agrees those who have power can conquer those who don't have power. A lion can hunt a deer. If a lion is able to do that, why not a human who is a much higher animal? I hunt whomever I want. So there is some justification given, but then that was a old tradition, physical level. Then the next one is emotional. The emotional level, I wanted to hunt for my happiness. People also hunt. It is not for eating. It's nice to see some animal running. I am shooting it and then killing it. I just leave it. There are animals also doing it. Humans also do that. Next level is I want to create a beautiful land. What is beautiful for us? Progress, development. Once upon a time, the forest had a lot of animals to live. I want to construct a big building in the name of God. What stupid thing I am doing? Where there were a lot of creatures living, I am cleaning it up. And what for? To install a God statue there. And a lot of human people will come there and then do prayers and then enjoy. A social life. That's how social life came. But then that had a ritual which is added to that, which is called Sri Bhuda Bali. Every one of us know that this land belongs to many other animals, many other creatures, small flies and worms and snakes, and everybody was living there. And I cleaned it up for my purpose. And what do? I respect them. I bow to them. We take permission even for cutting a tree. That is Indian tradition. So, that is highly logical. That means your level is much more higher. Intellectually, you are doing a job. We want to progress because human beings are not like animals. We want to create a better world. Better world which we keep on thinking, how can we make it much, what is development is becoming more and more lazy. I keep saying we had a very fatty TV, bulky TV, and when it becomes slim and slim and slim and slim, we say technology developed. But we cannot go and switch on the TV, we want a remote, so that in my place where I am sitting, I am able to control it. So we want comfort. Comfort not for me, my people. And that my people can be my society. That is why a lot of godmen came. They wanted to create their own group. Everybody keeps saying my ashram is the biggest, all others are useless. One religious fraction will come and say that I am the greatest, all others are useless. Lot of societal gathering came. But that is supposed to create harmony between them. That is why this interfaith. We are not against any small groups or maybe big groups. We don't separate them. We don't see how old is that or how new you are. Anybody could start their own creations, their own groups, but ultimately it is not to fight each other. It is to understand that the whole purpose is the physical, emotional, intellectual, social, all these are not important. Ultimately the spiritual is important. And that cannot be taught to somebody who is with a gun. You go and talk to them, peace, peace, peace. He will also make you into pieces. I don't think there is a conflict. That time even Bhagavan Krishna could not teach Arjuna. He only said, you surrender to me, then I will tell you what you should do. If he was not ready to surrender, I don't think no people with gun and then problems and war will surrender to somebody. Oh, Dilipji, tell me what I should do. He is not going to listen to you. So, the job of all these spiritual, interfaith, religious, spiritual ultimately is to have a free ticket. Assume that tomorrow we recognize a country. Create these many number of religious people can go and wander in that country as long as they want. Create a group of, that is why I said that White Cross. The White Cross people should have a representative of all these religious fractions or maybe religious groups or including their own native religious people but not from that country. Like we keep ambassadors in different nations, we need spiritual ambassadors in different nations. And create that troop so that we can educate them, we can teach them, we can understand what is happening inside their country, and then probably give sufficient data. This is what is going to happen. Otherwise, military political people will not be openly talking. We can get the smell from the public. We can understand what they need to get. Is it food? Is it development? What is happening there? How do we teach them the real religious spirit which gives them permanent peace, not a temporary peace? So it is a long job. Otherwise, we had Kuwait, we had Iraq, we had different, Qatar was one place which was prospering like anything. Every other nation made them to be in one corner. You can imagine if somebody has to fly from Qatar to Dubai the next, or maybe Kuwait, they have to fly to India. From India only they can fly. Still the path is on, but flights were not running. Can you imagine? This is what is called development. When we look at convenience, and we don't have that convenience today. We are talking about this convenience of remote control TV at home, and then we are seeing people running behind aircraft for climbing inside that. It's our own brothers and sisters. Is that development what we are looking for? So for ultimately, physical, emotional, intellectual, social does not solve problems if we don't take it as spiritual. So that is the real purpose, but it is not to solve Afghan problem like Raj Bhaiya was telling, call them, and then even politicians cannot do, UN cannot do. Is it that religious people can do? It's not. It is to educate them. What is the very, very, very essence of messages where that came directly? Assume that there is a messenger, or maybe Allah, or maybe somebody else. What is that message? Is it people are misinterpreting it? What is the true one? Unless that can be taught internationally in a united fashion, Loka Samasta Sugino Bhavandu, we can keep on chanting, people don't understand. There is no purpose of saying Loka Samasta Sugino Bhavandu unless it comes into action. Because you keep saying all this, we are all together, but immediately they will say, no, my people. That word itself is a useless word, no? My people and their people. Where is their people and my people for us when we say Loka Samasta Sugino Bhavantu? So it is not there. It is, everybody can do mistakes, everybody become unaware of the fact because they were not educated properly. They were miseducated. That miseducation has to be cleaned up slowly. That is what we need to do. If that role cannot be played, we will only be praying, but those people who have to hear, they are the people who have to hear. They will not hear that. Their ears are not open for this. That's a problem.
I also